After a long hiatus, welcome back to Originality Check, a series where we take a look at the coasters of a park and judge them based upon originality. And keep in mind, for this series, I only look at the coasters of a park. I don't look at dark rides or flat rides. That might be an idea for another series, but not this one. Since it's been a while since I've done one of these videos, here's a refresher on how I judge originality in this series. There are 3 points to check off. The first being that the coaster originally opened at the park and was not relocated from another park. Pretty straightforward and no wiggle room here. The second point is that the coaster is not a cloned model. If the coaster was the first of its clone type, I'll give it half a point, since it was original when it first opened. And the third point is that the coaster has an original name. Again, if any other coasters share that name with the coaster, but the coaster was the first with that name, I'll give it half a point. If the coaster has had more than one name in its life, I go by its current name. Its past names don't have any effect on this. I'll also give bonus points to any coaster that has some sort of significance to the amusement industry. If it was the first to achieve some major milestone, or if there's anything special about the coaster that makes it stand out, I'll give it a bonus point. At the end of the video, we will add up all the points scored to determine the overall originality of the park's coasters. To start off the return of this series, I'm going to cover every park that I did while I was in Europe. Just for kicks and giggles, I'm going to go in reverse order from how my trip went. That would take us to Djurs Sommerland for this episode. Djurs Sommerland has opened 9 coasters since it opened in 1981, with 9 coasters in its history, and each coaster scoring up to 3 points each. That gives Djurs Sommerland 27 possible points to score for originality. We spent enough time with this intro. If you haven't already, drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. There's a lot of videos like this coming very soon. Brought to you by Yours truly. Yeah, that was bad. Let's move on before I come up with another pun. We're going to go in order from the first coaster that opened at the park to the latest. Carlos Taxi. This SBF Visa Wacky Worm operated at Djurs Sommerland from 2000 to 2014. Nothing all too exciting about this kiddie coaster, just a basic wacky worm. This was removed from the park after the 2014 season and was relocated to a park in Finland. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, where it still operates to this day. While this coaster ended up being relocated, it did originally open at Djurs Sommerland, so it gets a point there. This is a very common model for SBF Visa. However, this was the first of its kind, so I'll give it half a point. And no other coasters share this name. 2.5 points for Carlos Taxi. Thor's Hammer. This Gerstlauer bobsled opened at Djurs Sommerland 2002. This model is pretty much Gerstlauer's take on a Wild Mouse style coaster. If anything, I think this is one of the best variations of a Wild Mouse lake coaster. It has the usual tight hairpin turns at the beginning of the ride. Then it goes to some tight helices and airtime hills. I'd take this model over the standard Wild Mouse any day. The ride also greets you with Thor himself. Thor's Hammer did originally open at Djurs Sommerland. I almost thought this had an original layout, but it has the exact same layout as Gesundheit Salad Tripstrill, and that came first, so no point there. The name will give this coaster another point. 2 points for Thor's Hammer. Piraten. This intimate megalite is one of only 5 in the world, and opened at Djurs Sommerland in 2008. Piraten was the first major coaster for Djurs Sommerland, and immediately drew guests in from all over. When it first opened, Piraten was the tallest and fastest coaster in Denmark, and it held on to that record until 2022, when Phonics at Frorup Sommerland opened. Also, shout out to the ride-ups on the day I was there. They were super nice, funny, and interactive. Piraten did originally open at the park. It was almost the first of its kind, with only one other opening just 2 months before it. So close, but I can't give it a point there. But the name will give it another point. 2 points for Piraten. Skattørn. This mock rides water coaster opened at Djurs Sommerland 2011. Some may doubt this being called a coaster, but as I see it, it has a track, it has a wheel assembly, and it relies on gravity. Plus the park calls it a coaster, and so does RCDB, so I'm counting it for this video. Skattørn did originally open at the park. There are 2 other coasters that are clones of it, but Skattørn came first, so half a point. And the name Skattørn, which means treasure island in Danish, is also original. 2.5 points for Skattørn. Juvolen. This intimate straddle coaster opened in 2013, and is easily the best straddle coaster that I've been on. Juvolen has 2 tire-propelled launches. The second launch really sends the train flying through the layout, which consists of many tight turns and airtime hills. Juvolen shows how intense this family-oriented coaster model really can be. This did originally open at Djurs Sommerland. There is one near clone of it in France. However, that one is a mirrored copy, and it came after Juvolen. Kinda gray area here, but I'm always trying to be nice as I can in this series. Since there are no other coasters exactly like it, I'll give it the full point. And the name Juvolen, which means jewel in Danish, gives it a third point. 3 points for Juvolen. Wilde Herdsjagd. This Zero Force 2 coaster opened in 2015. This coaster seems to be themed to a fox chasing a chicken. Silly, but it's cute and it works great for the coaster and for the area of the park that it's in. Wilde Herdsjagd did originally open at the park. However, there are many clones of it, so no point there. The name Wilde Herdsjagd, which means wild chicken hunt in Danish, gives it another point. 2 points for Wilde Herdsjagd. Kongen. This rare Intamin suspended family coaster opened at Djurs Sommerland in 2017. This model is sorta Intamin's version of the more common Vekoma suspended family coaster. As per usual, I think Intamin did it better. Kongen has a very surprising beginning, practically launching you out of the station and into the pre-lift, which consists of an airtime hill and a helix, followed by the lift. The rest of the layout is surprisingly intense, with some cool foot choppers that made me involuntarily lift my feet. This is a family coaster that I would venture to say is not really a family coaster. Kongen is more of a thrill coaster. Not a high thrill, just thrill. I really hope more parks pick up on this model. Kongen did originally open at the park. There are no clones of it, and the name, which means Dragon King in Danish, gives it another point. 3 points for Kongen. Jungle Rally. This 040 coaster opened in 2018, giving Djurs Sommerland the kiddie coaster that it lost in 2014 when Carlo's Taxi was removed. Tell me why this kiddie coaster has a twisted airtime hill, and it actually gave some kind of airtime. Jungle Rally did originally open at the park. Like many kiddie coasters, there are many clones of it, and this wasn't the first. And the name gives it another point. 2 points for Jungle Rally. T-Rex Family Coaster. Kinda funny how Djurs Sommerland sticks with Danish names for the major coasters ever since Piraten opened in 2008. Then suddenly 2022, English. This mock-powered coaster opened with the new for 2022 dinosaur-themed area of the park. There are many cool animatronics around this coaster and within the queue. I was rather impressed with the theming of this whole area and for the coaster. The coaster itself is a typical mock-powered coaster with a custom layout. It sends you through the course twice, the second lap being a little bit faster than the first. The onboard audio is really cool too. T-Rex Family Coaster is also original across the board. 3 points for T-Rex Family Coaster. And that's it. That's all the coasters of Djurs Sommerland. There were 27 possible points to score, and all the coasters of the park collectively scored 22 points. This gives the past and present coasters of Djurs Sommerland 81% originality. Not a bad score at all, especially for a park with this small to moderate lineup of coasters. One interesting fact that I realized about Djurs Sommerland and its coasters, it has never had a coaster with an inversion. Djurs Sommerland was the last park of my trip in Europe this year, and it was a very nice park to finish with. The park had a chill and laid-back environment, while still being pretty immersive and beautifully themed all around. I almost wonder going forward in this series if I should include theming as a factor for originality. What do you think? Let me know in the comments if I should consider theming on a coaster or not for originality. I'm not quite sure how I would judge that, but let me know what you think. And that will do it for this episode of Originality Check. As I said, I'm going to continue this series going in reverse order from how I did my trip to Europe. So Djurs Sommerland will be next. I'll eventually get back to doing American parks in this series. For this series, I'm trying to stick to parks that I've visited. Alright guys, I wrapped the video up here. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next loop.